What's up, Irish fans? Anthony Romo here with a Week 12 edition of our Coaches Corners here from the Golden Dawn. We'd like to thank the Golden Dawn for helping promote Ursuline Irish football all season long. Proud to be joined here today with the head coach of the Ursuline Irish, Dan Reardon. Coach, another week here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be here.
So let's waste no time. Let's go into last week's matchup against Hawken. We knew that they had a very skilled running back in Dom Johnson.
Mhm.
You guys did a pretty good job kind of neutralizing him, but Hawken, in a way, they did kind of try to move him around on the field a lot. You guys had to keep an eye on him. They were putting Luke Mangini in the backfield a lot. They were switching it up. I think that you guys do such a good job of this every week, and that's jumping out early. You guys never waste any time. Is that always part of the game plan, coming in to kind of draw first blood in a way?
Well, I'll tell you, we have one of the last things we do on our pregame routine. We do our position meetings, special teams meetings, all those different things. And then we have a quick 10-minute staff meeting and just final, we talk about personnel, guys playing both ways, how we're going to try to build in a break form and things like that. And then I always ask everybody what they want to do if we win the coin toss. And usually the offensive guys say take the ball and the defensive guys say defer.
Yeah.
But this past week it was I think it was like all but one or two guys said take the ball, and it was just a strong feeling that we wanted to get out quick. And there's weeks, just depending on who the opponent is, what they're good at, what their strengths are, where we want to defer to the second half, and just depends on the flow of it. But regardless, we want to get a 3 and out if we're on defense. We want to go down and score if we're on offense. So, I was pleased. We went right down. We scored. We made it 8-0, and that's always good.
Yeah, 43-12 was the final score for those that were unable to attend last week. First off, you missed a whale of a game from the Irish. You guys came out 28-6 was the score at halftime, I believe. So, like I said, you guys jumped out early in the first half. Did a great job. Jack Erickson, DC Farrell, Christian Lynch. Mark Manning had a 66-yard touchdown reception on a little screenplay, which I'll go there. Just how happy were you to see Mark, a guy that makes so many plays on defense, finally getting a second touchdown on offense?
Yeah, so I think, first of all, that was great to see. Mark Mark is playing a different position for us on offense than he did last year. Last year was primarily an inside receiver. He's playing outside receiver. And, things adjust based on that a little bit. Our passing game adjusted. We were a different offense last year, similar schemes in some ways, but a lot of different ones as well. So it was good to get him going. He had a big run for us as well. Played well on defense. I think he had 3 tackles as a corner. Had a PBU on 4th down. So played really well. But if you talk about our distribution from the other night, we probably had our best distribution out of our skill guys out of all the games this year. John Franco's had some carries. It was very effective. Christian Lynch, Mark Manning, Will Burney, DC, Jack Erickson. I'm probably missing somebody, but we had pretty much exactly what we wanted, or very close to it, as far as trying to get every guy X amount of touches, and it worked out pretty close to what we had planned.
So this is something else that occurred late last week after we had talked. One of your top lineman, Brian Frasco, 4-year starter, I believe, for the Irish, started since his freshman year, made his college commitment, committed to the University of St. Francis in PA, the Red Flash. Just talk a little bit about what kind of player St. Francis is getting in Brian Frasco.
Yeah, so Brian's been a great player for us for all 4 years. All state since his sophomore year. Those teams haven't been mentioned, but I think it's safe to say he'll be all state again.
Yeah.
So 3-time all state kid, 4-year starter. Really good football player, and really, if you go back to his freshman year, he was not just starting as a freshman. He was our best lineman as a freshman, and really played well since the day he started. And so I'm very, very proud of him. He's going to a really good football program. St. Francis is at the top of their conference right now, and he's been there several times, and they gave him a really good offer, and he decided to pull the trigger. So I'm proud of him.
Yeah, definitely. We're proud of him as well here at YSN. Congratulations to Brian Frasco. And to talk about the line as a whole, they have really kind of guided this team throughout the regular season. Christian Lynch has had an exceptional year on the ground. It seems like a lot of his runs are big runs because the line is making so many holes for him that gives him the ability to break one. You go all the way across Frasco, Lugers, Ross, Branch, Lucas.
Yep.
I remembered all 5 from left to right. A lot of experience, obviously, and that was one of the key focal points. Pretty much the first time we met this year, we were talking about the line. Just talk a bit about how much their experience has kind of helped this program through some of your tough games this season.
Yeah, so those 5 guys, I mean, they've been so steady for us ever since their freshman year. It's a very tight knit group. To have 5 seniors and going back, we spoke about this early in the season, but Mike and Casey, are Mike's basically a 4-year starter on the defensive line. Ever since probably the middle of his freshman year, he's been starting. Casey is basically a 3-year starter on the defensive line. Really, the first time we've asked them to play offensive line in their career, they're doing a really good job, but they're still very effective on the defensive line. The other guy, Kyron Stewart, who's a junior, comes in to spell those guys at times, and Kyron's been playing again better and better as the year has gone on as well. Robert Gilmore is another guy who comes in, same idea, and both those guys are juniors, going to be really good football players for us. Down the road when these other guys graduate. But, it's really gratifying to see because those guys have put so much effort and heart and soul into our program, and to see them get the results that they've had.
So now let's look forward to this week. Thankfully, another home game at Stambaugh Stadium. You guys are real lucky to be able to be in that top 4 that gives you the ability to have another home game, you being the 3 seed. Playing host of the Tallmadge Blue Devils this week. I believe Tallmadge is 9-2. I think they've only lost 2 games this season. They're coming off a 21-7 win against Phil Angela St. Joe's a week ago. Before we get into Tallmadge, just touch on a little bit how big it is to play another game at your home field in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the familiarity with the stadium and the venue and just the routine, the longer you can keep that, the better it is for your team. And if we were playing on the road this week, I'll tell you, it doesn't matter. We can go anyways. But the reality is, I mean, if you have the ability to play at home, you want to play at home. And hopefully we can take care of business Friday night, and then we worry about playing at neutral sites next week.
So the Blue Devils offensively are kind of like a polar opposite in a way of Hawken last week. On paper coming in, we knew that Hawken was going to run the ball because of Don Johnson, a very good running back who's receiving college offers.
Yep.
Now we kind of flip the page. Tallmadge, their quarterback, has over 30 passing touchdowns on the season, and they have a wideout that stands out among the rest. Collin Dixon, 72 receptions on the year, 18 receiving touchdowns. Committed to the University of Wisconsin, I believe, to play on the defensive side of the ball, but Big Ten school nonetheless. Yeah. When you face off against a team that has a talented receiver, do you have to make any changes kind of to your secondary to man them up?
Yeah, so, schematically, we're not going to do a bunch different. You have to be aware when someone has an elite player, obviously. The thing we always look at when we're game planning, we look at personnel advantages and disadvantages on either side. Where are they better than us? Where are we better than them? And you try to minimize their strengths and maximize your own strengths. So, whether that's formationally on offense, getting a formation that maybe puts someone in a bind who we don't think is as good as our guy or whatever, there's some of that. And defensively, you have to be aware of where those guys are. And, they do such a good job schematically. They throw the heck out of the football. I think it was 75% of the plays we've seen on film were pass plays. And, that's what they want to do. They have a good quarterback. They have a really good group of receivers. It's not just one guy. They have multiple guys. He obviously is the favorite target, but they have other guys as well who can hurt you. So, we have to be sound in our coverage. And the other thing, we have to do a really good job in our pass rush. They do, some tempo throws and things like that it's hard to get to the quarterback. But when we have a chance to get there, we have to pressure them. And we've done – that's been one of our strengths. So we have to make sure that we continue to do that and, hopefully force them to throw under duress and, be opportunistic in the back end if we have a chance to go get the ball. We need to.
Yeah, a few things that I saw when I was looking at the statistical aspect of it. Their quarterback, like you said, they throw a lot. He's attempted over 28 passes per game, which is a lot.
That's odd for a high school
at
team,
the high school level. And then you're talking about the talented receiving core. I think there's the receiver with the second most catches is elite defensively, leads the team with 7 interceptions on the season. As a team, they have 19 through 11 games. And you're talking about pressure, how they like to put pressure, or you're gonna have to put pressure on them.
Yeah.
In a way, do you think that you're gonna have to put? I just messed that whole thing up. In a way, they're gonna like to put pressure on the quarterback. That's what I've seen when I've seen some of the film. I think this could be a big game for Jack Erickson to really kind of stand up.
They are, they're an attacking style defense, and their linebackers play downhill. They play fast. They'll blitz at times and move guys around, and they've shown the ability to play different fronts. But they play fast downhill and try to apply pressure that way. Even if they're not blitzing, they're playing fast downhill. So that's something that we have an experienced offensive line. They need to be able to handle that, sort that stuff out, whether it's blitz or not, handle it when it is. And the big thing, going back to Christian Lynch, and they need to get Christian to the second level of the defense. And if we can do that, we can apply some pressure on them offensively and hopefully get them out of their comfort zone. And and if not, then it could be a long night.
Yeah, and Tallmadge coming off a win last week, which I believe is their first playoff win in a decade and 10 years. I saw yesterday that whole community is excited for this game. Thursday, they're having a community pep rally to get ready for the game. So they're obviously going to bring a good crowd to Stambaugh Stadium. We know Ursuline's going to bring a good crowd too. And I was thinking of how to word this earlier. So kind of the expectation at Ursuline is to not only win in the regular season, but win in the playoffs and make deep playoff runs. You're playing a school that just won their first playoff game in over a decade, and their whole city's into it. We've seen how they've reacted. For those who kind of have lost this in the whole success of the Ursuline program, how hard is it to get to week 12 of the season?
Yes. So every single week gets progressively more difficult. And, we talk to our kids a lot about playoff football, and there's a number of things. You have to be able to travel if you want to go deep in the playoffs. You have to be able to travel, get on a bus ride an hour or two, and play well on the road in unfamiliar environment. You have to be able to potentially overcome officiating that is not necessarily what you've seen in the regular season. I'm not even saying good or bad. I'm just saying it's different because you get officials from different parts of the state, and styles of play are different regionally. So, there's that. But, you also have to be able to, if you're making a 6-week run, which is the goal, one of those 6 weeks, there's a chance you're not going to play your best, and you have to be able to win anyways and overcome mistakes anyways. And, obviously your goal is to play well every time you take the field. The reality is if you play 6 games, one of them you're going to play the best, and one of them is going to be on the lower end of the spectrum. And you have to overcome that regardless of where that level is, and find a way to win anyway. So, we talk about that, but, we're playing a really good football team, and the thing I would say, the volume of passes that they throw is probably the most we've seen this year. It for sure is the most we've seen this year. So that's a little bit different, and I think we played good pass defense for the most part. We've minimized big plays in the past. We've done a good job pressuring the quarterback, and we have to do that this week against a really good football team who knows how to throw the ball very well.
Yeah, Tyreek Donlow, we've seen him the last couple weeks against Mooney and then against Hawken do great with getting in the backfield, getting pressure on the quarterback. So definitely could be a big game for him this week if you guys want to come out victorious. One final thing, Coach, before we kind of let you go here, just what are some keys to victory this week that you think are important?
So, again, I think our guys up front need to play well on both sides. Minimize what they do defensively and get our backs to the second level. If we do that, we'll have a chance to hit some big runs. Defensively, we have to minimize big plays. You mentioned, 30 touchdowns I think he's thrown this year. We have to minimize that and force them to drive the field. They've shown the ability to hit big pass plays, and sometimes that's turning a 10-yard out into breaking a tackle and turning it into a 50 or 60-yard touchdown. So we have to tackle well, minimize big plays, take care of the football on offense, and our guys up front need to control the tempo of the game.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks for joining us here tonight, and good luck this Friday night.
Appreciate it. Thanks.